Well, it's a fairly cloudy afternoon. I will not mention the word rain any time in this broadcast. But we're at the Clinton County Fairgrounds for a very good reason on June 27th, 2015, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Starting in about an hour from now, the fun begins. Mike Perotti, how are you, buddy?
Very good, sir. How are you?
I've been doing great. Mike was connected with Airborne for so many years. I attach him to that all the time, but he hasn't been with that organization in, what, a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, about a year and a half.
So what are you doing now, my friend?
I'm working for the World Racing Group out of Charlotte, North Carolina, promoting races and putting on races throughout the Northeast.
I knew it would have to be with some kind of a racing group.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's what's in your blood from the time you were in diapers, I think.
Shortly after that.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
But it's a fun job you do.
I love it. You know, it's not really a job if it's something that you enjoy to do. And you know, I used to dread working and looking at the clock and waiting for the hours to go by. And now it just goes by 10, 12 hours, and before you know it, it's gone.
So you organize races?
Organize and promote, and I'm a series director and sanctioning body director for Dirt Car Northeast. So we just put on races and make the rules and schedules for those races.
You know, it's amazing to me how many chapters there are in our lives. You do something, you think it's going to be forever and ever, and the next day, the proverbial you-know-what hits the proverbial fan, and you're off and running. So I'm glad you found this position if it fits you.
Oh, it does. I like it. It may not be the last one, so that's.
Yeah.
I'm always up for a challenge.
Ready for another page?
Yeah, another chapter.
Turn the page. Well, we're at the Clinton County Fairgrounds. Before the Clinton County Fair, I'm not going to talk about rain during the Clinton County Fair because I think the overall scheme of things, it's rained more than it hasn't rained on the Clinton County Fair over the years. But Mr. Gillespie just had a birthday, so he's riding high, and I'm sure he's going to have a good fair. Now, we got to tell people who will be watching this show long after we're doing this in late June that we've been involved in one of the most horrendous news stories that I've seen since I started in the radio business here in 1961, and that is the escape of two hardened criminals from Clinton Correctional Facility. One of them has now been shot and killed as of yesterday, and today the other guy is still on the loose. And Betsy Finnegan and I were talking. We helped to promote the Blue Ribbon idea to salute and honor all the corrections officers, all the other people from the various agencies, local, regional, state, federal, international agencies who have been searching for now, 3 weeks?
Correct.
For these guys. And she started talking about what you guys were planning here as a salute to our everyday heroes. You know, Mike, Calvin knows for sure, and I know that I've spent my entire career up here honoring and promoting those everyday heroes. Those people whom we don't hear about very often. They're rarely mentioned in any of the media, but they're Johnny on the spot to man an ambulance or a fire truck or some other event for something, and they go home satisfied that they've done a good job even though other people don't know about it. Well, that's going to change with this salute to the everyday heroes tonight. How did the idea germinate?
Well, it started last winter. We wanted to do a fireworks show, and Dr. Joe and I have always done fireworks together and had a good time.
He's such a good guy.
Yeah.
Tell him I said hello when you see him tonight, will you?
I will. And initially I wanted to do something for the firefighters that had helped me at Airborne. And then
That's true, too. Over how many years?
Right. And they were a good group, and they had departments come in from all different areas and to support us. And I thought we'd just do, fireworks and give the proceeds to the firemen, and that's how it started. Well, then I got in touch with Hall Communications, who was a big sponsor of ours throughout the years, and they're behind the Josh Pilata Fund, which brings awareness to PTSD. Josh Pilata died from complications from PTSD. So they asked if I would be interested in bringing that into the picture, and I said sure. And then we said, well, geez, we're going to get the veterans involved, and then we said we should get everybody involved. So we're going to.
I know you.
Everybody.
You're a promoter, Michael. Not everybody. Everybody who's not. a wedding or a funeral this weekend or a graduation,
Right.
to come here to the Clinton County Fairgrounds for what we hope is a really, really fun time. The
Smart.
weatherman blesses us. It'll be a great evening. Tell us about some of the other things you have here.
Well, we have a kids section where we have pony rides and or moonwalks and things like that.
Inflatables. as they call
Inflatables,
them,
yeah. Donkey petting zoo and things of that nature, and a lot of exhibits, or some of the exhibits anyway. Just different crafters and flea market people, and Della's here with their sporting equipment, the ATVs, things like that. And we just invited this to any group that wanted to come in.
Cars.
Oh, street rods, of course.
Don't forget the hot rods
yeah.
and the classic cars.
Yeah,
and
all them. We got a bunch of those coming. Supposed to be here in about a half hour. We got all the fire, or a lot of the fire departments, half a dozen or so, or maybe 8, I think, coming with different, showing their equipment that they
It
have.
pleased me as I was on my walk this morning, because you know me, I'm like you are. I have to know about anything that's happening. And I'm listening to these guys on their fire frequency saying, who's going tonight? How many people are we going to have from fire department? So I know you're going to be well represented tonight.
Perfect. And we hope the fans are not, I'm so used to using that term, but actually they are fans. Just to come out and talk to these people and sort of make them feel good and thank them for everything they do for us every day.
You have a fire in your house, the fire department puts the fire out, and they go home, and you don't even know the fire chief's name. This is a good opportunity to shake a few hands and to tell these people, hey, we're really proud of what you do every day. Well, that's why you call it Everyday Heroes.
Exactly, and also, police. We've invited all the different police agencies. Of course, they're pretty tied up right now, and I'm not sure what we'll have for representation.
I've talked to some of these guys that were just going to bed for 2 hours to start their second 16-hour shift.
Yeah. And
but they know we're talking about them.
And correction officers too. I mean, that was a group that we invited and intended to invite all along. This thing, I really don't like seeing the bad publicity that Dannemora gets. I worked up there for a few years. And,
I guess you did.
And those guys up
you
there.
And half of my family members and so many people I know.
They're
It
great.
just breaks your heart to watch it, because I've seen it from the inside out as you have for many, many years, Mike.
They've done that's a very tough prison with very tough people. As we know, those guys that got out are bad guys, and those guys have done a great job up there. And that place is an institution throughout the state, and it's known for being a tough place and a place that they don't want to go to. So, first time there's been an escape from there, and I feel bad for all those guys. It's really not representative of the way things operate there.
Not at all. I mean, We've been able to promote them in so many years. I remember years ago for the Christmas Bureau going into the toy shop, inmates making the most fabulous toys and giving it to the Christmas Bureau. Through a few tragedies that we won't go into now in my own personal life, corrections officers leaving envelopes of money that guys had donated on my front porch. No names, no nothing. I know who you are. So
Gordy knows.
We've had a good connection with Clinton Correctional Facility, and their particular CERT team. I think before this search happened, a lot of the people watching this program and those people who were in the general public had no idea what those letters stood for. I think they might know now. They might know SWAT. They may know CERT. Because these guys, so many of them are my close personal friends again, who are working harder than a human being should have to work.
It's extremely tough conditions, and they, I used to tell people I'd earn my money in there one day out of 30, but it's every day that it's on your mind and what's going to happen in there. And
people start saying negative things, and I say, sit down over there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a few stories. And I tell them a few stories about my own kids and my own friends like you, and situations that can happen in 1 second in the yard, in the mess hall, in any one of the blocks, anywhere.
Correct.
So we know, don't we, Michael?
Oh yeah, and it's a great facility and a great bunch of people that work in there.
So it's a good idea to salute all of those people. One thing we didn't mention about tonight, it's called music.
Oh yeah.
We'll You've got music, baby.
We do. We have In Cahoots playing. It's John Gino, and John is actually a national guardsmen in Vermont.
That's right.
And a couple of the other members, I think, I'm not sure who they all are, but that kicks off at 6, and they'll play till 9 or whenever we start the fireworks, depending if the weather. If the rain starts to creep in on us a little soon and it gets dark enough, we'll shoot them off to get them in. So they'll be playing till 9, and just want to get everybody together and have some fun. And
Who would ever guess? Many years ago, when I was in the radio, and Joe Klaus and his wife would come to the radio station, and I learned certain words like subluxation or whatever those things are connected with the back, and we became very close friends. Who would ever guess that he would get into the fireworks business big time?
he is big time. He's working for the Bruins, I think, as a chiropractor too. But yeah, we started him
That's
and I.
That's not bad on a resume either.
No,
right?
it's not. We started this thing. He always did fireworks on his own at his house, but him and I got together and started doing it at Airborne, and it's taken off from there. And he just does it because he likes to do it. You know, he's not in it for the money. So the show reflects that. He puts on great shows.
So this is going to be a lot of fun tonight. The last time I was here was for the Clinton County Relay for Life.
Mm-hmm.
Cancer survivors and those suffering from cancer and so on. And it's a memorable night when the weather is good. This year, the weather was horrendous. I sloshed the water up to my knees right on that track out there, but I did a television show here, and I'm glad I did, because a lot of people had gone home by 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. It was such a good cause. But this is a good cause, too. You know, you're talking about veterans. I've lived through quite a few wars and conflicts in my long life, and I know what it's like to be to have kids and relatives in combat situations, although I never had that. I was going to say pleasure, but
right.
not pleasure. But I know what is PTSD. Half of my kids are psychologists. It's not an easy thing, and some people suffer throughout their lifetimes when they come back from a couple of years of service. So it's good to work for a couple of good causes.
Yeah, and also CISD, I think, is the other
Yes.
group, which are policemen and firefighters are victim of that by going to the scenes and the things that they have to deal with. So they have that same CISD or PTSD. It affects you no matter who you are, you know.
Never a day goes by when I don't have some kind of contact either on the social media or somewhere else with guys who were former troopers. I met one in a grocery store this morning, were police, and I know these guys. If they had to fire a shot in self-defense or otherwise during their careers, I'm aware of it. And I know what effect it has on them because they open up their hearts and souls to me, and I do to them. So I know what they've been through. Guys that had to leave the business just because of 1 minute of an incident where they had to do somebody in or something happened where it affected their entire lifetime in their career. So it's so good that we have a salute to our everyday heroes, Mike. I don't know why it hasn't been done before, but leave it to Mike Parati to come up with this idea. Anything else that you haven't mentioned? Because Calvin and I are going to noodle around with the cameras and talk to people.
You know, I hopefully it has a good turnout. I mean, there's a lot of other things going on. It's the first one, and it takes time for these events to build. So we're looking forward to continuing to do this and then maybe changing the causes for each event in the future, you know, changing it around for different groups and organizations.
It's wonderful that you can and are willing to do such a thing. It's great.
Yeah, it's...
Because they are often unsung heroes, as I've said how many times before.
You know, these guys that went to war and have done things for us that allowed me. I was never in the service, but I was home having fun, and while they were out protecting us, I just figured we'd do something just to show them that I appreciate it anyway. And then I'm sure everyone else does too.
Well, people won't be seeing this until after the event is over. So we'll just tell them there were 15,000 people crashing the gates at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I was going to say 17, but I'll go for 15.
I'll be glad to see the first 45, I'll tell you that.
Yep.
Michael, you're the best. We've known each other for a long time. We haven't caught up with anything in the last couple of years, but now that I know what you're doing, especially this event to honor our everyday heroes, I'm very proud to know you as a friend, and I thank you for that.
Well, thank you, and thank you for everything you've done for the community over the years. Everyone,
we just do it.
Yeah.
Calvin grabs the camera, and if I grab the microphone and don't break the cord because I'm a nervous wreck most of the time. Then we're all set. So we'll have a good evening with us. Thank you so much for talking with us. We'll wave at you on the way out.
All right, thank you.
Mike Parati.
Stuff in the background there? Or?
Oh, we got it all in the background. We're already rolling.
All right. Oh,
Valerie
goodness.
Pallotta,
Pallotta, correct.
how are you?
I'm okay.
I'm okay too. Calvin and I wanted to meet you today because your name was in the program.
Oh,
And you have a very important cause.
I do.
Tell me about it.
I do. So my son Joshua is a veteran who served in Afghanistan in 2010 as part of the Vermont National Guard's deployment. He struggled with PTSD and traumatic brain injury and sadly committed suicide last September.
It makes my heart heavy to think about it because I've seen it happen long before anybody used those letters PTSD. It's been called many other things through every war and conflict, from shell shock to you name it. I'm sure you've studied the history of it. So what made you decide to do something about it and get your soapbox going to let other people know about it?
I had to do something. I think
You just said about 3 chapters of a book. I had to do something.
I did. If I didn't, I would probably curl up and crumble. And I think when you hear the statistic that 22 veterans end their life every single day, and that's just the documented statistic, it's pretty scary that our veterans aren't treated better than that.
I want our viewers to think about that for just a minute. That's a figure I wasn't going to mention, but I'm glad you did.
It's a veteran
because
every
it's
65 seconds. Or, sorry, 65 minutes.
Yeah.
Every 65 minutes, a veteran ends their life.
Isn't that amazing? Veterans and people who've been in the service, dedicated their life to a cause, and then have something like this happen. And I hope the viewers watching this can get a little inkling from your eyes about how deeply this affects a mother.
Yeah,
A mother is different from any other person on the face of the earth.
that's right.
And so this was so tough for you.
It still is, and it was 9 months on Tuesday.
The wound is still open. Wide
And
open.
you carry a child for 9 months in your womb, and then they have been gone for 9 months, and it's really hard just to go on, and you do it because you know that there are others who need help, and there's a hole in my heart that will never be filled, and if I can save one veteran's life by doing this work, then I will have done a little snippet of a fraction of good, and I'll just keep going until 22. That number 22 is 0.
How long did it take you to amass a circle of friends who really care enough to help you with this project?
Not very long at all. Actually, even before my son deployed, I was the chartering president for Blue Star Mothers of Vermont.
Of course you were.
Yes.
You've got it right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, you live in Colchester,
So I live in
right?
Colchester. Yeah, we have been supporting veterans since 2009. We officially chartered in 2011, but we had a pretty good support network before, and it took a split second before people came out and said, I want to do something to help. And in the 9 months that my son has been gone, we've raised probably $12,000.
Isn't that marvelous?
Yeah,
Marvelous.
and we have a small group of Blue Star Mothers. There's only about 20 of us.
Now, is this part of a wider network? Or
It is. It's Blue Star Mothers of America. We're just a Vermont chapter of Blue Star Mothers of America, and they've been around since the 1940s and officially chartered in the 1960s. But we are the first Vermont chapter that started in 2011. We officially chartered. Yeah, we do a lot of veteran support, emergency support for sometimes childcare or groceries, fuel assistance, things like that. But this, since Josh died, we wanted to focus more on supporting veterans with PTSD. So the Josh Pallotta Fund is within the Blue Star Mothers organization.
So people now on both sides of the lake know exactly who you are.
Yay!
And if you come knocking on the door saying, I want to talk to you for a few minutes, are you asked to do a lot of appearances?
Not really. I actually went down to D.C. and testified before the Senate Committee on Veterans
Did you
Affairs in
really?
November. Yes, I
And
did.
I missed it.
I did. Yeah.
It was probably on the cable networks.
It was actually on the wider networks. It was on CNN, and
No kidding.
yeah, it was pretty well publicized. And then a couple of months ago, I went to Montpelier and testified before the state legislators for a couple of bills that have been out there and passed. I'm really happy about the bills and acts that have been passed, but I think that we're doing a lot to raise awareness, and people are aware now. But I think we need to have more action. There needs to be less prescriptions and more support for pet therapy, and there's the Veterans Horse Barn Project, a lot of those therapies that are not pharmaceutical that are helping veterans, and I think we need to look at that.
You must have been a pretty quick study. Did you go to college over there?
I did not.
You are amazing.
Well,
You're
thank you.
eloquent.
Thank you.
Some things in life force us to be eloquent when we know
They do.
there's a need.
Yeah, it's my mission. It's
Yeah.
it's for my boy.
It
It's
sounded
his
like
memory.
you didn't even have to think about it.
No.
It just
No.
transpired.
It's right here. It's for him.
So what has your organization moved to this side of the lake? I know you're here today in New York State.
I'm here today. We do a lot for Vermont. We have not moved over here yet, and I don't. To be honest with you, I don't know what the Blue Star Mothers chapter situation is here in New York.
I bet you find out.
I
bet you will.
we've supported Gold Star Mothers in New York because
Oh,
they were
yes.
closer than the nearest New York chapter. So we've supported Gold Star Mothers. So we're open to supporting, and it's PTSD, it's veterans. They're all brothers.
You know what, Valerie, a lot as I'm talking to you, thinking on my feet, it dawns on me that a lot of people don't want to think about this subject
Yeah.
because there's a horror connected with it,
Mm-hmm.
as is obvious in your voice and your demeanor today. But we think they should.
I don't think you can fix a problem if awareness isn't raised. If you're not raising awareness of a problem or an issue, you can't fix it. And when I was preparing to come here to the Salute to Everyday Heroes, I was looking at statistics for police officers and EMTs, and the statistics are just as tragic as they are for veterans.
Well, we know we've been thinking about it and talking about it as we do reports on this big search that's been going on for over 3 weeks here in the
This
North
is
Country.
A thousand officers who are out there looking for this
Yeah.
murderer, and the PTSD that can appear with them, and it's scary.
Yeah.
We have to have the support services for these men and women.
I like what you're doing.
Thank you.
I hate what you've gone through to get here.
Me too.
But if people watching this are inspired, and how can they not be inspired by what you say?
Thank you.
How do they get in touch with you if they need a little more information from you?
They can contact our Blue Star Mothers organization. We have a website, www.bluestarmothersofvermont, Vermont is spelled out, .org, or they can email me at aromablessings@yahoo.com.
What was that? Aroma?
Aroma Blessings. It's AROMABLESSINGS
Best domain in the world.
at yahoo.com.
How did you come up with that?
Well, I was an aromatherapist. I haven't done much with it since my son has died.
But I know people who do.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for complementary therapies for assisting our veterans too. Using scent and massage therapy and physical therapy. All of these things are really showing to be effective.
So the poignant message today, if somebody is suffering from PTSD, even though they don't know it, if they have some of the symptoms, but if you are a mommy or a grandmother
Yeah.
or a sister or a brother, talk to somebody.
Call the Veterans Crisis Line, call a buddy, call your unit, call somebody, a family member. If you know your son or daughter or friend or brothers, contact with whatever branch of the military they're in or service. Just call somebody and call my cell, 802-233-0630, and we'll try and figure out how to help you.
Valerie, I'm one of those simple-minded people who believes there's a reason for everything. And one of the big reasons for Calvin and me and Hometown Cable of coming here today was to meet you
Oh,
and
thank
to hear
you.
your story.
Thank you.
We will stay in touch with you.
I hope so. If you're not, I'm coming after you.
Thanks so much,
Come find
Valerie.
you.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.